Hey everyone, I'm Liz, I paint minis, and I hope you're ready to start collecting some Age of Sigmar models. Today I've got the Getting Started with Age of Sigmar set. It's a mini starter set, which includes a book, showing off all the 23 armies available in the game for you to collect, as well as 2 minis. The book's got a little bit of background on each of the different armies, as well as some really nice pictures of fully painted armies. But, most importantly, we've got 2 minis to paint. So in this set, we've got a Stormcast Eternals mini, a Liberator, and also a Skaven mini, a Clan Rat. The book has assembly details, though since it's a beginner set, neither of them are particularly complex. So, full disclosure, I did get this as a gift from Hatchet Partworks for subscribing to the test run of the new Spearhead magazine. If you want your own copy of this, it's available to buy on the Warhammer website. It's a nice little set, though it's not really something I'd buy for myself. But it would make a nice gift for someone you know. These are also push-fit minis, meaning you don't need glue to get them assembled. Just line the pieces up and push them together. Personally, I do find the pegs don't go all the way in, which can lead to little gaps in between the pieces, so I either have to snip the pegs down or just put plastic glue on it anyway. If your fingers are stronger than mine, you might have an easier time with it. The kit's designed to be built without any tools at all, so you should be able to just pop the pieces off the sprue. I'm snipping and scraping where the mould lines are just to make sure the pieces are as smooth as possible and fit together really closely. You'd need to use tools for most kits outside of this. For the Liberator, you actually get the option to either use a helmeted head or a barefaced head. I actually went with a barefaced one. Quick assembly done, these 2 minis are now ready to paint. And then battle! So I started painting the Liberator. I've painted a few Stormcast models before, so I knew it wouldn't take me that much time to figure out what to do with this one. I started by putting down some Retributor armoured gold on the armoured parts of the mini, including the torso, the edge of the shield, front of the legs, and the plate mail skirt. I wanted to give this one some good metallic contrast rather than just have the entire mini be gold, so I used silver as a secondary colour. Silver, being a kind of greyish colour, is closer to a base colour than a yellowish gold is, so it helps the gold parts pop while providing some colour contrast. Silver goes on the shield, back of the legs, and the waist area. For the shoulder pauldrons, I added gold on the outside and silver on the inside bits, just to match the way that I painted the shield. Weapons are often silvery metallic colours, but they don't strictly speaking have to be. So Games Workshop has this old rule about minis needing 3 colours to be considered tabletop standard, aka painted. I don't really think it applies outside of anything other than tournaments, but to vaguely match that standard, I'm adding a little bit of red to the details, like the belt, scabbard, and the buckles on the shield arm. And once my main paints are down, it's time to add some details. These minis are often filled with interesting little details that really help bring life, like the little insignia here on the shoulders. Sometimes when I decide what I want a mini to look like, when it actually gets to the painting stage, I do sometimes change my mind. For example, I wanted these thigh plates to be silver instead of gold for some more visual contrast. The insignia on the shield is red, but I wanted the raised parts to stand out more, so taking just the edge of my brush, I run it very gently across the raised parts to gild them. Time to paint the head. Skin tones and hair colours can be a bit tricky, so I've gone with a mahogany for the hair and the beard. Then, starting with a darker colour, I used 2 types of flesh colour for the face. I'm using a lighter colour to add highlights where the light hits, like on the forehead, the nose, and the cheeks. I used a wash to add some shading to a select few recesses, like between the plates on the plate metal skirt. Now this guy's got really prominent eyebrows, so I tried to paint them on. Tidy up with a little bit more skin colour, and the model itself is done. But wait, there's more! They've still got the base to do. Not wanting too many more colours on my palette, I decided to go with metal on some parts of the base and brown on some of the others. I wanted to make the edges in between the metal floor tiles stand out, so I added red in between, but it is difficult sometimes to get colours to just go into recesses, so did have to go back over with the silver to tidy all the edges up. Now I like to paint base rims in the same colour of one of the main colours for the Mini, and this time I went for gold. I feel like it adds a bit of cohesion to the Mini, and a bonus helps me identify that yes, this Mini is one of mine among a sea of black rims. Add a little bit of white to the skull on the base, and he's finished. Now we paint a rat! I actually haven't painted Skaven before, so I took some time to figure out all the different areas and figure out what colours I wanted to use. I decided to go for cooler colours like silvers and blues to contrast with the Stormcast. Storm contrast? Something like that. This guy's got a lot of little metallic bits like this chainmail below the cloth and the bars on the shield. That's all getting a bright silver, as well as the plate armour pieces on the torso and the arms, and the blade of the spear. I've used a few different shades of brown on this Mini. Dark mahogany on the wooden part of the shield and the spear handle, pale sandy brown on the rope, and a mid-tone of pale sandy brown on the rope, and a mid-tone of Mournfang brown on the leather. Rats naturally come in a range of colours, from white to black and all across the browns and even into yellow. I chose grey fur to try and stand out from the nearby browns. Rats also tend to have pink hairless tails. For the fabric I'm going with blue. Fabric tends to have lots of little folds, so there's a lot of bits to fit my bristles into. I'm also doing a little bit of dry brushing on this guy, just to highlight the edges of the spear handle. The base has got this really big spiky post which is getting silver and dark brown. The rest is a nice sandy brown all over, with a darker brown wash to deepen the depths. And a quick blue base rim to match the fabric. And they're both done! This was a nice, quick and easy paint job to do. The Stormcast took me just over an hour to paint, and the Skaven just under. As always, there are improvements to be made, but overall I like how they've come out. Thank you to Hatchet Artworks for sending this to me, and thank you all for watching. Feel free to click all the likey, subscribey thingy-majigs at the bottom, and I hope to see you next time!